Welcome to the Waffle Shop podcast. Today, I'm joined by an incredible singer, songwriter, the legend that is Kevin Rudolf. Welcome to the Waffle Shop.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited about this.
See, I have to explain because I feel like when I get like American guests on the show, I have to really over explain that there's not actually any food involved when it comes to like the waffles. Obviously, in the UK, it's because we have like, you'll probably find out very soon that I talk a lot, but I tend to waffle on.
Is it is a waffle? It's like a tea and biscuit type of afternoon tea type thing, or a
Kind of. I feel like
yeah,
over there you have them with like maple syrup and
yeah,
like bacon and stuff.
good.
We had
Yeah.
we had Cool in the gang on, Robert Cool, and he was so disappointed. I must have had to explain it like 3, 4 times.
Really?
And there was no waffles involved. I mean, he was, for one, he was on the other side of the world, but
Yeah. You could send a waffle in advance, and then just we could. I'll eat it while we'll eat at the same time.
where
You
have you
know.
been for the past 2 years? That is a brilliant idea. I could have
Yeah.
done, but
You know what? That'd actually be great for it because, and then they'd have like a souvenir with like a special box, and they'd have like some souvenir of being on it. And I'm sure you can find a local waffle shop for a delivery
yeah.
in every town where your guests are. We
Do
should
you know
do
what?
that.
I thought I was coming on this for a nice, like, light-hearted chat
Now this is
with
going
a
to be
legend,
purely
and now I've got a
educational for
business.
you. This is going to be marketing tactics for you, I think.
Thank you, thank you. This took a turn that I was not expecting, so thank you.
You got it now.
So I start each one of my shows with something called the weekly waffle. It's something that's kind of really annoyed me that once I kind of get it off my chest, it makes me feel a little bit better. I mean, it doesn't make me feel any better, but that's what I try and tell myself once I've kind of
Mm-hmm.
moaned about it.
Mm-hmm.
And what's been winding me up this week, Kevin, is the fact that when you get a notification on your phone and you kind of swipe up to get rid of it,
Mm-hmm.
I've got quite chunky fingers. So
Oh,
I accidentally click on it.
they look
And
fine
now
from here.
I've got like I've got, thank you.
They look
Thank
fine.
you.
You're good.
Um, and I accidentally open the message and I feel like then I have to reply to the
Oh
message.
boy, everyone knows everything these days, right? It's like they know if you read it, they know if you sent something back, they know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just too much going on. Too much going
It's like
on.
they can see me knowing the fact that I've just ignored the message. It's
I
it's
know.
it's
It was
frustrating.
better back in the day with like the Blackberries and stuff, and like you were like typing everything out, and
Yeah.
you weren't.
I
Yeah.
miss my
Well,
old Nokia. That's what
yeah,
I miss.
yeah. The Nokia, Nokia. Yeah, they were great. It
What
was like
kind of
hello.
is exactly, and the flip, remember
Who's
how cool you
there?
were when you had like a flip phone?
Oh
You
yeah,
used to
those are
talk,
great. The
yeah.
Motorola Razor, that was the best.
Yes.
Yeah, and like people weren't, you didn't have like a million text messages coming through all day, and you didn't have email on it, so you're just like, a message. I've received a
Yes,
message.
I've got a
Yes, I
message,
have.
everyone.
I'm eating lunch right now, but I will certainly take a look at this message after I'm done eating. Now it's like, okay, hold on.
And now I'm trying to
Yeah,
ignore them whilst I'm eating my lunch.
I know, but it means you're popular, I think, right?
I would
Is
do
that
it. You're full of compliments. I'll take that.
yeah?
I
You're
feel
popular,
great.
popular.
Is there anything like that that kind of annoys you and gets on your nerves?
I mean, I try not to go there, but well, couple things. I'm kind of annoyed with that I live in Miami, and up until this pre-COVID situation, it was like real chill, and it's like kind of just, everyone's floating along. It's like this, there are, parts of it which are partying and popular and touristy, but it generally feels pretty chill. And ever since like even just within this past year, within
Yeah.
like last March to this March, it's gotten like, it's just crazy. It's just it's bothering me. It's actually not a minor inconvenience. It's bothering me because I feel like I'm like losing my special,
A quiet
little
place.
nook in the world, and it's getting too exposed. But we're good. It'll be, I think that's not for everybody. Some people will leave, it's gotten really expensive in the last 6 months,
Oh
and
God, don't. The gas and electric prices here in the UK at the moment, Kevin.
yeah, it's crazy.
Ugh,
It's crazy.
honestly, ridiculous.
It has to. I think things have to level out, though. It can't just like stay like that forever, or can it? I don't know. Hopefully
Yeah,
not.
I think everyone's just making up as they go along at the moment. I mean, if you told me like 2 years ago we'd be like kind of in lockdown, not allowed to leave the house, to now
Yeah,
like,
right.
like some people are
Yeah,
still scared to leave that. It's
I
surreal.
know. I know. I'm like waiting for aliens to land, and then we just kind of like, get my little fishing boat and just be out there. Like, all these people, it's amazing. There was like, yeah, you have to have guns and gold and this and all the doomsday preppers and everything. And it's like, do you think like anyone's going to accept gold? Like, if you're fighting, like what you need is a fishing rod, and if you're by the water, obviously.
Yeah,
But
there's absolutely
what are
no
you going to
use
be
to me.
bartering with, like barley and like rice? Do you think like if the banks got shut down, it's like you're gonna be helped by anything other than a means to get food? But what do
Yeah,
I
well, I
know?
just I could sit here and rant about this all night because
We
it's
could we
just,
could
but
just spend the
it's
whole time
literally
on
it's batshit crazy. It's
it.
genuinely,
Really.
and even if aliens turned up now, I don't think any of us would even bat an eyelid.
No, no, I'd be like, yeah, cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, this is what this is life now. Right. Anyway, back to
Anyway,
it. Like, I'm gonna throw this out here now because, and this series is, I don't know how I've managed to pull it off, but I'm kind of having a waffle with some of my favorite people who have sang my favorite songs because I'm a big believer in people having a kind of soundtrack to their lives. And I need to throw it out there, but Let It Rock was like the soundtrack to at least 2 summers of mine. So I've
oh,
got
that's
so
cool.
many incredible memories of like going out and like you just knowing when you hear that like first start to that song, everyone's going to the dance floor. So
That's
I need
so
to thank you
cool.
for that. So
Well,
it's,
thank you.
yeah,
Thanks for
even
dancing.
even now, to be fair, even now.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. I appreciate that. That makes me feel good. That's why we do this. You want to feel like you're connecting, and you want to feel like you're, reaching people. So that's a great compliment. Thank you for that.
You are very welcome. But I'm going to kind of go back a little bit here because I find it so interesting when I have like a music guest on the show. How did it start? Like, because I mean, I've tried to sing, it doesn't work. So was there a moment
Try
like,
autotune. It's very powerful.
to be fair, I'm speaking to the right guy.
Many,
I feel
many,
like you would
many,
help me
many
out
plugins
here.
these days that will help you with your singing.
You know what? I've got a
You
new
could have
marketing
a singing
career.
teacher, or you could get these free plugins and just do it right now.
You know what? Sack this interview off. Let's make a song. That's what
Let's
we'll
do it.
do.
Let's do it. We'll make a song and a waffle. A waffle
See
song.
this.
We
I
need
feel
a
like I've just
theme
got a
song.
whole brand
I
new.
need a theme song.
I mean, I if only I knew like a incredible producer, singer, songwriter who
I'm sure we can make you sound just fine.
amazing. But back to you. When did that start? Like, was there a song that you heard like that kind of like kick-started like your like interest in music, or did you watch like a performance? Like, what? How did it start for you?
Yeah, my mom was a singer, and
Amazing.
she was like in clubs in New York, and in the 80s, 90s, and she was doing her thing. She had a band, and she would try being a solo artist and different styles of music. So I watched that whole process. But I think she had a record turntable, actual
Yeah,
real record player, and she
I remember
had
them.
so many great 80s, so much great, from like it was like Cyndi Lauper and Pat Benatar and Van Halen and Led Zeppelin and the Beatles and the Stones and Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton. It was like everything, a lot of 80s, but also a lot of classic 60s, 70s
Yeah,
music. And I would just go through those records and listen and absorb it. And then I think at the time, I think you sort of want to not do what your parents are doing. So I was like, I don't like music, I was like, I don't even like, and I'm like 7. But I think by the time I was about 11 or 12, I remember I was in a guitar store with my grandfather, and it was like he was sort of like the source of like a lot of if I wanted to, I would play the piano, he'd get me a piano. He was sort of the financial
Yeah.
resource person in the family, in terms of just like, hey, if I want something, I better go, kind of like that direction a little bit. And we saw a black electric guitar, and it was just like, probably a cheap, whatever, generic black guitar. And I just saw it and I was like, yeah, I
I
want
need it.
that. And yeah, need that right now. And my vision of it was I was just going to jump around in front of the mirror. I wasn't planning on like playing it, And he looks at me, he's like, look, I got you. I got your keyboard. I got your thing. You have to take lessons. Like, you can only get this if you commit to lessons. All right. And so I said, okay, all right, I'll do it. I'll take lessons. And I took lessons. And then, like anything else, you take to it or you don't. And it's hard in the beginning because your fingers don't fit and your nails are too long. I'm cutting my nails. I remember I was like, he's like, your nails are way too long. And I was like, well, I'm 11 years old. Not really getting like
It's not
manicures.
really on the top of the priority list, is it?
Right. So, yeah, so I started, but after about like 4 or 5 months, I was learning songs, and I got a sense of like, okay, I can do this. And I think you get bit by the bug, or at least I did. And like, you
Yeah.
start, watch TV. Like, that's all I did as a kid, was watch television. Like, I didn't do anything but watch television and play guitar to the television. So I was learning like the Growing Pains like theme song.
Wow.
And I was like excited by that stuff like that. I was playing along with like Family Ties and whatever. So that's what I would do. And then the radio and music, MTV, whatever. And
Yeah.
that's how I kind of taught myself, along with the lessons.
I honestly find it so interesting because I feel like everyone has like a real different path. But what
And then
I like,
they're always less cool than what they tell you. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
it's just honestly, it's
Everyone's like,
boring.
yeah, I was just there, and like Hendrix just comes on stage, and you're really just like, yeah, I was watching Family Ties, and I wanted to learn
Yeah.
how to play the song.
I was sat there watching EastEnders and I thought, do you know what? I can play that
Right?
on the
Yeah,
xylophone.
EastEnders is your word. Right,
Yeah.
right. Those songs are very heavily impressed. People don't realize the influence those have in music, pop culture, is like TV show theme songs back in the day.
But you can hear it sometimes. Like there's a do you know what I had? And I don't know if you have it over in America. Do you have Arthur?
Arthur the movie?
No, like the aardvark. It was like a cartoon aardvark. It had the best theme tune.
Sorry, it's a dog barking. I don't know where that came from. The aardvark? No,
You
no.
know what? I'm going to send it you after this recording, and I guaranteed it will put a smile on your face. It was an
Okay.
absolute banger.
All
I
right,
loved
well,
it.
let's go.
Me and my friends still
Send it.
sing it now, and it's like we're 30. it's,
Send it.
it's made
Send
that
it.
much of an impression.
All right, cool.
So with that, like to be honest, when I'm having these conversations with obviously like musicians, and there seems to be like an underlying kind of theme, like with like family when it comes to kind of like the music and the records and stuff like that. Like, was that the kind of music that was playing like when you were growing up, like the Beatles, Hendrix, like so would you say that kind of like influenced your sound, or was it kind of well, like, where did
Yeah,
that sound come from?
I think, influences are, I think they're times when at least for myself, where I pulled from different um, pockets of or genres. I remember when I was like 14 and I was really into guitar, I only would listen to guitar music. So yes, of
Yeah.
course, I was listening to like anything. If it didn't have guitar, I was like, it's not music, it doesn't have guitar, you know? But by the time I was 16, I was really into songwriting because I felt like I wanted to take a step further. I didn't want to just be a
Yeah.
guitar player. It was like, all right, well, everyone's great at the guitar, I want to be able to do more. And so I was in a phase where I was listening to maybe more of the Beatles stuff, but I was also very into like Peter Gabriel a lot, and the Police and Sting and that kind of stuff. That I think I connected with that because I never felt like I was like a sort of regular singer in the way that
Yeah.
like I was never going to be Mariah Carey, like with the 6-octave range, and I was never going to be Sinatra, and I was never going to be. I always felt like the two people that I liked vocally the best were. It was like somewhere I wanted to be somewhere between like Sting, Peter Gabriel, and like Johnny Lydon or Rodden.
Yeah.
depending on
Oh, the Sex
depending on
Pistols.
the era of Sex Pistols. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to be like, I felt like I wanted to scream, but I wanted to be like melodic and just like with a straight, pure tone like that. So that's what I was thinking about songwriting wise, and I could sing those songs. They made sense to me, and you too also very much because like
Mm.
I loved I just loved always like big cinematic like world music, and I don't mean just like world as in world, like with that, but I mean,
Yeah.
global music is the word.
Yeah.
I always wanted I always had that vision. I wanted to make something that the world would sing, and I still feel
It's
that
quite
way.
like anthemic. Is it anthemic?
Anthemic, yeah.
Anthemic kind of like, and to be fair though, and I think that's what I would definitely describe kind of like your songs as, because when like every time, like even today when I was like, oh, my mate was like, what are you doing tonight? I was like, oh, I've got a recording like with Kevin Rudolph, and he was like, oh my, he was like, what an anthem. So it's like those words are like being associated like
That's so
with
cool.
kind of
Yeah.
like
Well, I
your
think
like
it
your
all goes
music.
back, I think it goes back to that time. It was that I remember, oh God, I remember one time my mom used to play from the Rocky movie, the Survivor song, Eye of the Tiger, And it was funny though, because only looking back now, having had, put out certain kinds of music and also seeing what does connect with the world. Because I have put out a lot of different kinds of records, and sometimes I think it's such a great song and it doesn't connect, or vice versa. But
Yeah.
I remember it was like the pump up songs. I always wanted to make people feel powerful. And there's so many love songs, and there's so many, songs to cry to or break up to or have your first kiss to or whatever, break up to, whatever it is. But I loved the songs as a kid that made me feel tough, that made me
Yeah.
feel empowered and strong, because I think you need that as a young person. You need that feeling of power in your life, because the world is trying to control you a little bit
Yeah.
or make you go in a certain direction. And so a lot of times the music that you're wanting to connect with is something that makes you feel like, no, this is my life and I'm in control.
Do you know what? It's really weird that you say that, and like, and again, I'm going to say it because I absolutely love having these kind of conversations with the people who've made this kind of music that I listen to. But there's so many playlists that I've had like that I listen to in the gym that like numerous songs of yours have been a part of, because it makes me feel like it gives me that kind of sense of like, yeah, I can do anything. So it's really weird hearing you kind of like explain it in a way that actually, I mean, I've never met you, obviously, I've only listened to your music, but now having this chat, I'm like, oh, okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah,
Now I get it
yeah.
even more. It's
No,
surreal.
it's cool to talk about for me, because as an artist, I go in every direction. I mean, if you were here in Miami, you'd come here at like 10 a.m. and you'd be hearing me work on like, who the hell, like something that you'd never think I would do. And
Yeah.
then and you came back 12 hours later, I'd be working on something else. I mean, sometimes it's just like, I can't even describe what directions I go into. Actually, it's probably the thing that slows me down the most. Is I'll get really excited. I'll be like, woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm doing this thing that sounds like, I don't know, uh, um, what was it? Not Pink Moon. Pink Moon.
What, as in Pink Floyd?
No, the
No.
song Pink Moon. Not Nick Cave. British, 60s folk singer.
Oh, don't embarrass me now. Don't come on here and
No,
I
anyway,
should know this. I
it
should know.
sounded like it sounded like him, and I thought, okay. And then I woke up, and then like 5 hours later, I was doing something that sounds like, I don't know. It was like this, like sounded like this little like house music calypso thing that you'd hear
Wow.
like at 4 o'clock in the morning in I don't know, Miami. Uh,
Yeah.
and then by like I just love to do stuff. It's just fun. So anyway, back to what I was saying is it helps me also to clarify talking about it, because those are the songs that I do that often really do connect, are those
Yeah.
ones that are straight down the middle of that empowerment, because that's what I feel the strongest about when I do.
No, it's incredible to hear. And to be fair, I kind of want to like dive into that a little bit, like, because especially when it comes to music, like it's my biggest coping mechanism, like whether I'm like angry, sad, happy, whatever it is, like
Absolutely.
there's a
Yeah.
song for that. For someone who creates these kind of songs, like when you're kind of going through it, or when you're, whether you're like in a good mood or whether you're in a bad mood or there's something heavy going on, does that kind of spark things with you? Like, is that, because obviously we know, like obviously over here we've got like the Adele, and like obviously she pours her heart out when she goes through like a
Yeah.
breakup or something like that. Like, do you find it like on very different levels that anything like that can kind of spark a song or a melody or something?
Yeah, absolutely. I sometimes it's the opposite though. Sometimes if I'm feeling sad or it's like I'll do something really, I won't do something dark to reflect the sadness. I'll do something
Yeah.
very pretty. Like sometimes if I'm feeling like really sad, I'm not gonna go, "Na, na, na, na." You know, I'll probably just do like, and that sounds like no one, na, 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 and I'm feeling like, yeah, it's okay, gonna be okay, yeah. If I'm, it's the other way around that I'll do something if I'm in like a,
That was brilliant. That did, you
you
just
know what
got
I'm saying? It's
goosebumps.
funny though, because it's like the other way around. Sometimes if like you're feeling good, you're just like, you do something like, nah, 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 you know what I mean? You just, you get, it's opposites. I feel like
Yeah,
you use the music to help whatever, to either soothe yourself or express yourself.
that is brilliant.
But
Absolutely
that's
brilliant way to
just
look at it.
me. That's not everybody. Some people
Yeah.
just want to get it out.
Yeah, to be, because I, to be honest, I used to do that. I used to, like when I was in a bad mood, I used to like put good song, like happy songs on, like, or like dance songs to kind of get me
Yeah.
out of like kind of like the mood or anything.
Yeah.
But then what I found was happening was those like really happy, like bouncy pop songs were then starting to remind me of like
Right.
the
Right. It's
bad
true.
sides. So now I've kind of gone back to, I'm in this kind of thing of like, well, actually, if I'm feeling sad, I'm going to lean into that emotion and just kind of get it out my system, kind of thing.
I know.
So yeah, so it's a real, but
That
everyone
works.
like, yeah.
Does that work? Is it like, does the leaning in work? That's what I always wonder about emotionally. You know, if I feel bad long enough, will it go away?
I just sometimes like to sit at the window when it's raining with a sad song
Yeah,
on, pretending I'm in the
yeah,
music video.
I
And
know.
we've all
Mm,
done it. We've all done it.
of course.
Um, with that kind of being said, like with the music kind of thing, obviously we talk about kind of like mental health and coping mechanisms on the show quite a lot. When things do get a little heavy for you, do you have any other kind of like coping mechanisms that aren't music that you kind of turn to kind of get you back to where you need to be?
Just mostly waffles.
I'm
No,
soundbiting that. I'm
oh,
soundbiting that, and I'm going to
oh,
use that.
I felt, let's see. I think we learn how to soothe ourselves in certain ways at different ages. Like, I know things that work for me, you know?
Yeah,
Like, one could be, again, making something really fucking pretty. I'm thinking about just doing a whole album of that stuff because it's like I played people, they're like, yeah, that's nice. But I'm like, no, it's great. You don't get it. It's just like, and I could do it really fast too, you know, just
yeah.
like really, all really pretty stuff. Like I'd be thrilled if I heard that on the radio. I'd be like, wow, the world's a good, wholesome place again.
This is what it
So sometimes
needs,
I do,
Kevin.
hmm?
This is what it needs right now.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I always feel, sorry, this is a little off. I'm not avoiding the question, but
You're waffling.
I will say, I think musically, movie, just culturally, I think things that are darker, more negative, more angry, more sad seem to succeed more. At least they do for me, you know? Because a couple times I've tried to really like, oh, you know what? I'm done. I'm just gonna make this song and everyone's gonna like do the kumbaya, like, you know, clap their hands and it's great. And people are like, is that what you want to be now? And I was like, I remember I was at Universal at the time. I was like playing on the song. I did a song called "Here's to Us" like that. And I was like, I just finally want to just be my, you know, I want to do something really nice for the world, like
Yeah.
not nice for the world, but you know what I'm saying, like that kind of song. And he's like, that's great, Kevin. It's great. Is that who you are now? I was like, I'm the same fucking person. What do you mean? Was that who I am now? Like, just a song. Can't people make different things? Do I tell you to eat only Chinese food or only this or only that? I make different things. That's it, you know. But
I
it
like
doesn't
that.
really, it wouldn't really work. Some people are like, some people say things like, artists, they're like, I'm really diverse, man. And it's like, your diverseness is like one notch to the left or one notch to the right. Like I'll really be like making something completely else, you know what I mean? Like as in just has nothing to do with it. But back to your question, that was, we took a little sideline for a
It's all right. It's the purpose of
second.
the
You know,
show.
I do like, sometimes I just like turning on a microphone and just like singing into it, and with a acoustic guitar like that, that makes me feel
Yeah.
better. Sometimes I watch like foreign movies and look like French movies or Italian movies, because there's something about the another culture, another reality.
Yeah.
Also the way those movies are slowed down, they slow your brain down. So you're not watching like a movie like you're okay, like you're in a different, it puts you in a different rhythm. So and it'll just take me to a place, and it's like, and then I'll think to myself, I could just leave it all behind and like live in, you
Yeah.
know, the mountains of Tuscany or something. You know, I don't know, too much. No,
It's a
but
kind
then
of like an
again,
escape, though, isn't it? Because you are having to
yeah,
concentrate, whether it's like subtitles or, you know, what's going on and stuff like that. So, no, I'd agree with that. Like, mine's Lego. When things get a
really,
bit much, like I turn to, because there's like, I know for a fact in that next hour, all I'm going to be focusing on is on like these little bricks. Like,
that's
the world's
great
like
though, and it's
falling apart. But
tactical.
if it
Yeah.
works, it works.
That's great, you know. And you know, I have a 7-year-old son, and playing with him can do that too. I mean, it's, he
Yeah.
goes skateboarding, and like he'll get you out of your head in a second, you know, like especially if you have like a fun activity that, you know, to share,
Yeah.
like you do, like that. Like that'll get me out of it too, you know, really, and just, you know, the family love, and like that also is, it can be like that. But I think it's also good to have it, you know, if you can make some art out of it too, is, you know,
Yeah.
bonus.
That's why I keep saying this. I sound like an absolute. I nearly swore. I can't answer it. It's my show. I sound like a fucking parrot because I'm like, I love having these
Whatever you
conversations for
want there.
that. Right, exactly. For that reason, because this whole podcast wouldn't have existed if I hadn't gone through like a real horrible, painful thing. So I love kind of having these kind of conversations with people, whether it's a really happy moment or whether it's a sad moment, have created something from that kind of like raw emotion.
Yeah,
I hate using this word, but it's very inspiring.
I can't, I hate to say it, but it's like I almost can't do my best work if it's not as a reaction to something.
Yeah.
You need something, because you have to dig so deep to do it, you know? I could make stuff all day, but there's something about when you have a pivotal event and then you're just like, nope, I'm doing
Yeah.
this now.
Do you know what? This actually leads me very, very nicely onto what I wanted to talk to you about. And I obviously I've been a fan of yours from Let It Rock. Obviously, I know there was music before that, but that's when I really kind of like your voice really kind of captured me. And it was recently I was kind of, I think I was randomly searching for, I think I was doing like a playlist of like a Throwback Thursday playlist. And then I noticed that one of your songs, recent songs, was obviously Live Your Life. And I heard it. And straight away, I was like, yeah, I needed to hear that because there are so many lyrics in that song that are very much like, no one's going to do this for you. Like, you're going to have to like kind of like put in the work. And like when I heard it again,
Yeah.
and it's really weird, especially kind of the conversation we've just had about like that kind of like empowerment, like you want people to feel powerful when they listen to your songs.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I felt when I listened to that. Because I was like, one, I was like, I hadn't heard your voice for a while. I was like, yes, like
Oh,
kind of
cool.
feeling. And then it was like, yeah, like if you want something, you're gonna have to work for it. Like, you know, there is no
Yeah.
one kind of like you kind of you
Great.
felt unstoppable.
It's a great realization. You know, I think we've all had times, I think we're in this weird time in culture where it's sort of the message is like, hey, all I have to do is invest $10 in this and you're gonna be a millionaire. And you know, all I
Oh.
have to do is get that. And these 3 life hacks will teach you how to lose weight. And also you'll learn to play guitar in 5 minutes. And also you're gonna have $10 million in your bank account tomorrow. And then you can just sit in a yacht and get fat. You know what I mean? Like, that sounds great. Thanks a lot. Sign me up for that, you know? But that's just not how things work. And if they did work that way, it'd be hugely unsatisfying. And maybe there are people that are born into that. I'm sure there's tons of them actually. There are,
Yeah.
but I think there's nothing more empowering knowing that you're just going to do it and you're going to keep doing it until it happens. And that's just what's going to happen. You know, it's not easy, but it's simple.
Do you know what though? It's absolutely brilliant advice. And I know there's a lot of people that kind of listen to this show that they have like these key kind of like moments of like self-doubt of like, oh, I don't know where. I mean, we all have it. We all have that kind of inner critic
I
that's
had
like,
it today, earlier, tomorrow, yesterday, you know what I mean? We all have it. It's normal.
so like I'm gonna ask you like for a little bit of advice then, because obviously, well, for one, for anyone listening to this, you need to go and listen to obviously Live Your Life because it will do that for you. But in your words, like if someone is going through that kind of self-doubt kind of like cycle, like what would you advise to like kind of get them out of it?
It's very easy and very hard. All you have to do is take action. Do the most immediate thing that you can think of to move yourself forward, and then do the next immediate thing. I'm going through it myself, you know? I was feeling like a little bit kind of like I couldn't get a footing career wise or, you know, direction wise, and a lot of stuff. I think I mentioned you in the email. My dad passed away,
Yeah,
and you know, around some things around that, and I began like sort of feeling like I need to do this. Like I need to get. I don't know what was just stirring in me. Like I got to get going. Like, and it's hard because I didn't realize a lot of self doubt, layers of self doubt that from you know years, and you know, just because you have some hit records doesn't mean you're not like a human being. You know,
yeah,
sometimes it makes it worse. Sometimes success can make it like worse. You think it's gonna like, oh, I'm good now. Like I already been up the chart. It doesn't work like that at all.
yeah,
It actually can amplify some things. So I just felt like I got to push through. Like I've just got to sit here until I make something that I like, and then keep doing that and keep doing that, and pick up the phone and get things going. And if even if that's just calling a friend to say, I made this today, and then calling them tomorrow, I made this today, and then doing it the next thing. Find whatever is the next actionable step. And I believe in manifesting, visualization, affirmations. I think those are very powerful, but they have to be done with what you're doing, because your body won't believe the action you're taking or the change until you take
yeah.
the action. So I think, and I think it's just staying with it, and it's fucking hard. It is hard to do every day. It's hard to do when you don't feel like it. It's hard for me to sit down and like work on some music. And you know, 6 months ago I'd have been like, nah, I'm not really inspired. I'm gonna go eat lunch. Now I'm like, fuck that. I need to do this. I need to do this for myself. I need to make this happen. And many of the songs that I've done that are successful were done when I didn't feel like doing it. There's something about your brain. It's just like it's at war with itself. But when you
Yeah.
can do something, whether it's go to the gym to get in shape or eat right or whatever career path success, it's just doing it. Just do the next thing, and then do the next thing, and do the next thing, and don't stop. And that's it. And you will feel like stopping. So don't.
I'm going to clap. Honestly, but it's incredible advice, and I think I say it all the time on the show. But you can do anything in this life,
Yeah,
but the one thing you can't do is give up. And I think this is
yeah.
exactly the message that I just took from what you've just said, because like we can't give up. You've got to keep going.
Yeah, it's hard to get something off the ground. You know, you're not going to have anybody helping you. You're not going to have any it's hard because it looks like nothing is happening for so long.
Yeah.
And then one day everything changes. But it takes a
No.
long time to get to that day. You know, sometimes, especially even with something like a podcast or a music career or a movie career or a company you're starting, it's very discouraging for a long time, but you just have to just say, I'm going to keep doing it. And that's what I'm doing. That's it.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I feel like I'm hearing this at exactly the time that I need to hear it as well. You're an absolute
I'm not going to
legend.
stop. Listen, I was probably like off the horse for a while where I was like, I don't know. The world wants me to do this, or no one cares, or no one cares about me anymore. Or I don't care if they don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they care. They didn't care before. They didn't care between. They care. They don't like. That's just not part of the equation. You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't matter if people care. It only matters if you're doing it. and then show the world. If that means social media, or just sending it to a friend. If you can get one friend who's sort of you make yourself accountable to in your journey, someone who, not just anyone, not someone who wants to cut you down,
Yeah.
someone who's really, if you just say, hey, I did this podcast, check this out. Hey, I got this song, check this out. Hey, here's the new picture of me in my spandex from the gym, whatever. Check it out. Hey, this is what I ate today. I didn't eat the cake, I ate the salad. Here's a picture of my salad. That's helpful.
I feel like I'm gonna like soundbite all of this, and I'm gonna set you like as my alarm tone in the morning. Put the cake
Kevin
down.
Rudolf alarm clock is now available for $9.99.
See, I feel like this podcast is as much as
I'm talking to myself too. I'm talking to myself, and it's also catching me at a time where I felt like I needed to make a shift.
Yeah.
So we may have been talking about something else 3 months ago or 6 months ago, but now this is where I'm at. So
no, I generally, I'm a big believer in like you have these kind of conversations when you're supposed to have them. So I feel like for definitely the vibe that I'm getting anyway, I feel like you need to kind of hear this kind of stuff back yourself.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I've got like a biggest smile on my face, so it kind of leads me nicely into what I'm going to kind of say next. But I'm very fortunate that this kind of conversation's happening, and obviously like this little bit of like a collaboration in creative people. You have collaborated with some of the most incredible people, the likes of like Lil Wayne, Timbaland, Jay Sean, and my personal favorite, Natasha Bedingfield.
Yeah, she's cool.
Huge Natasha fan. She's constantly ignoring my emails, so a little bit annoyed, but
really?
still love her. Still love her. It will happen one day. I'm not going to stop until, that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to send her a waffle every day until I get, I don't know, that sounds a bit weird. I'll cut this bit out because it makes me sound a little bit.
She's like, get this waffle out of
here. Never go on his show again. But they have made some of like my absolute favorite music that I kind of dance to, that I kind of like feel to, as of yourself. But what I want to know is, obviously, you live in Miami. It's kind of like a party central. What song needs to be playing to get Kevin Rudolf on the dance floor?
What would always do it for me? Public service announcement, Jay-Z, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is, that comes on, like I'll be like, whatever. Like I'm
time to go.
But when that comes on, I'm like H to the O V. I used to move snowflakes by the O Z. I'm like, okay, let's go. That'll move me.
Do you know what? I think that's one of the best answers. That's one of the best answers I've been given.
Yeah, or you know what would do it for me is like a feel good, like a Kanye Good Life, Kanye West Good Life. That would do it.
That's one of my favorite albums.
Real feel good stuff, but stuff like that. Though not like those two in particular would do it for me.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think they're my favorite answers that I've been given to that question.
Yeah.
A lot of them go to like 90s, like cheesy, like dance kind of music. So that's, I'd agree with you.
I would also take, what I would take? I would take LL Cool J Around the Way Girl too. You got me shook up, oh, you love me,
I think you just make a playlist. Just make a playlist because I'm having a great time.
Playlist. And I need.
This is just inspiring.
Yeah, you can manage all my affairs then.
Thank you. That's all I wanted. I'm glad. I'm glad
for my podcast, my playlist.
Oh, love it. So on the flip side of that, what song? Oh, to be fair, if there might not even be one, but can you remember the first song that kind of made you feel something? Whether it was happy, sad, like can you remember what it was?
In life?
Yeah.
I would say easily Van Halen Jump.
Was not expecting that.
Yeah. Like the one that I remember, because when when that, like that record used to play, my mom had the, you know, the 45 bit or whatever,
Yeah.
the album or whatever it was. I used to just want to jump. So that's, to me, like that's the earliest. If a song can make you actually move like that, like get up and
Yeah.
jump, because that's what they were saying. Like that is, you're causing a physical reaction. So yeah, that was definitely the first song that made me move, like made an impression like that.
I like that. Anthem as well. As again, as soon as you start, as soon as you hear that first few
Yeah.
things, you're like, yep, jump, time to jump.
Yep.
So what's coming next? Because obviously I see like on your Instagram and stuff like that, like you can see you jamming away in like the studio and stuff. Like, can we like expect, is there an album coming, an EP? Like what's the plan?
I have the plan is I have a few records. Well, records, we call songs. We call them
Yeah.
records here in a little bit. I'm putting out a couple in the next couple weeks. Well, one in about 2 weeks, and then I'll just follow it with that and follow it with that. Every few weeks, I want to be putting out music. Again, you're catching me at a time, which is good. Like where I'm like, now I'm like, let's go, you know. And I was I'll be
Yes.
honest with you and honest with myself. I was sort of floundering a little bit. I was sort of, I think, letting fear and ego and confusion just sort of, it's not that I wasn't making music, but I was just sort of wandering around with it.
Yeah.
And like, I go here and no, over here is better. And so I'm putting out new music, and all I can say is it's just going to be whatever I'm doing at that time. I make no promises as far as like any particular style or anything. But I'm gonna be doing it consistently enough where I think it's gonna be something cool, you know. And
Yes.
I think we're all just like experimenting anyway. It's not some finished album that needs ready to be released.
Yeah.
I'm also sending a lot of stuff to Wayne again for his next project. A lot of beats, a lot of hooks,
Amazing.
things like that. And I'm just putting myself on my own work schedule to just crank every day. And this really only started, to be honest with you, about 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
So, and it's a lot of, again, stuff relating back to, you know,
Yeah.
um, what we were talking about before, but I just felt the need, just something rose up in me where I was like, I've got to go. I cannot do this anymore, where I'm like, you know, trying to figure it out,
Yeah.
like do it. So, I'm working every day, and I'm trying to finish something every day, every other day, and make as much music as I can. And whether that happens independently or a label or ends up being for another artist or a feature or a beat or a hook or a soundtrack, I'm just saying that's not my job anymore, because I got
Yeah.
caught up in that kind of industry. You get caught up in that stuff. Like, well, you know, I
Yeah.
think I could do this if it's not for. It's like, dude, I don't care anymore. I just want to be working. I just
Yeah.
want to be focused. I just want to make stuff that I feel is good or even good enough to put
And
out.
doing something that you genuinely, well, one, that you're genuinely really good at, but two, you quite clearly like you love doing this.
I do.
So,
I
and it
do.
puts a smile on your face. So there is no reason why you shouldn't be doing it. So I'm going to be on
No,
your case now. I'm gonna
I
literally,
love
I'm
it.
gonna like,
Will you, yeah, please. I love that. I love that. I love the energy and the excitement, and, you know, I'll root for you, you root for me, and
there
we'll
we
do it.
go.
I was listening to Andre 3000 on, have you heard that on Rick Rubin's
The
what is
pod,
it called? Broken Record, I think it's called, from Outkast, Andre 3000. And, you know, I'm such a big fan of his and Outkast. And he's talking about his creative process and where he's at. And I felt so like I understood what he was saying. It's like this comfort mixed with fear, mixed with you don't know where you fit in anymore, and
yeah,
all that stuff going on in him. And I'm like, and he's like, I don't even know if I'm good anymore. I'm like, dude, you're fucking better than everybody. What are you talking about? Like, you could just do nothing and be better than anything that I've heard recently. But, you know, but I couldn't believe he was feeling that way. And then I was also relating to it and thinking, well, am I doing that? Am I in this sort of
But you
place
know
of,
what? This is what is so beautiful about having these kind of conversations. Because I mean, like, I'm not from like that kind of like music world at all. So the fact that someone like one of your peers is kind of talking about things that you're genuinely feeling, like, I think it just proves that regardless of where you're from in the world, whatever you do as a career, like, we're all feeling like these very human
yeah,
emotions.
yeah, we
It's
are.
honestly, I think it's an incredible thing. Like it, and again, it comes down to just by having that simple conversation.
Yeah, yeah. And I realized that I'm gonna work through it. And that's what that's my way through. I'm gonna work through. I make no promises that I'm gonna have the greatest song in the world every
Yeah.
time. It may be a lot of like left, U-turns and left turns and right turns and things you wouldn't expect or would expect. But I'm just gonna commit to do it and take it or leave it. And that's what I'm gonna do.
Because no one's going to do it for you. I'm going to be
Because
on
no
your
one's gonna
case
do it.
now.
And I don't care if like it's not about, you get caught, especially when you have a hit record. You're like, well, they like
Yeah.
this one so much. Oh no, that's cool, but it's not as fast as this or slow as this, as good as it. And it's just like you could drive yourself crazy. So
Yeah.
this is what I do. This is what I'm doing, and here you go. That's it.
No, I love it. Absolutely love it. You have genuinely took me by surprise today. Like I genuinely thought, like, I knew it was going to be a good conversation, but I did not think I was going to connect with you on this like kind of level that I
Yeah,
have.
it's
Like,
cool.
especially from like an accountability point of view, like getting out of your funk, like kind of, pushing yourself out,
Yeah,
like out there, regardless of like how you're feeling, and keeping going. Like, I was supposed to have this conversation today, so thank you
me
for
too.
that.
Me too. I had to tell you, I had a really good feeling about this. I had a really good feeling that this was going to be a good one.
Thank you. Well, we're best friends now,
We
so
are.
I'll be sending waffles through the post. Left, right, and centre. This is going to be really cheeky, but do you reckon you could like play a little something to like round off the show?
Like what? Like
I
let it
don't know. I
rock.
mean, preferably if you could do like a little something of like "Let It Rock." I mean, one of my favorite songs of all time. But there is absolutely no pressure whatsoever.
Do I have a
Just to
pick?
kind of play the show out.
All right. We in tune? Tune enough. I see your dirty face hide behind your collar, but it's done in vain. Truth is hard to swallow, so you pray to God to justify the way you live a lie, live a lie, live a lie. And you take your time and you stand in line. Will you get what's yours? I got mine. Because when I arrive, I bring the fire, make you come alive. I can take you higher, what the saints forgot. I must now remind you, let it rock. That's
Let
you.
it rock.
Let it ride. Here we go. And I wish I could be. Come on, you
As
do it.
cool as you.
Yeah.
Ah,
And I wish I could say the things that you do, but I can't and I won't live a lie. No, not this time.
oh my God. What a guy. You have been, that was genuinely one of the fucking highlights of this whole process.
Oh,
Thank you
well,
so
I
much for
appreciate
joining
it.
me.
Thank you for having me, man. It was fun.